this is Jeff at Quadrocopter, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about the 2-axis gimbal with the GH3 on our Cinestar 6. So first, for powering the gimbal, we're using two items. One is the Castle BEC, and that is taking my 16.8 volts from my main light pole and taking that down to 5 volts, which is going to run the two Radians, the two servos, and actually the HDMI to SD converter. And also we have a Traco Recom, which takes the 16.8 volts down to 12 volts, and then that runs our downlink. And also, one more power item is we are using for our trigger, which I'm using this switch, off of channel 7, and we're actually powering that directly from the Grotner GR24. This is grabbing its power from the flight control. The RC FlySoft is a pretty low voltage application, or low amp draw, so yeah, I'm just running that right out of the receiver. With the Radians and the servos and the HDMI to SD converter, those take a little bit more juice, so that's where the Castle BEC comes into play. So once again, I'm using channel, switch 9, which is channel 7 coming out of the Grotner 24. And you can actually hear the camera firing. So once again, channel 7 to the RC FlySoft switch, which is wired up to our GH3 cable, or it'll also work with the GH2. The other switch that I'm using is switch 3 on the MX-20, and that is turning my Radians on and off. So right now, I just started it up. You can see the two green lights in a slow blink. As I turn my Radians on, those will go to a solid green, and now you can see both axes compensating. And how I'm doing that is I have channel 9 coming out of my Grotner that I'm just pulling the ground and the signal. I'm not pulling power for any of this, and that's going to both Radians. I have a diagram that I drew that'll also be included in this video, so that'll actually show how I got everything wired. It's kind of a confusing mess without actually looking at how I put it all together. So once again, Radian on and off, and the other switch, well, actually a dial, is for the tilt for the Radian. So the problem with the Radian, well, actually, it's not a feature right now, is you can't use any proportional control. So I have this dial for my tilt. You can see tilting down and tilting up. You always have to return it back to center to stop. And what I ended up doing was taking one of these little, this is actually something I got at the hardware store. I think it's like a little rubber grommet. And I actually put a little flat spot on there, so as I'm flying, I can just rest my finger on there, and then I can kind of, train myself that is centered. As I go down and I go up, I know this is centered just the way my finger rests on it, so I can actually control that without actually having to look at the dial to go back to center. So another item that I did is this external switch. I'm going to turn off my Radians. This is a switch. It's a little, just a slider switch, and this actually turns my downlink on and off. And you can actually see with these three LEDs, that actually is my indication that the downlink is on and that's off. Once again, light pole 16.8 volts. That's going through this little Traco Recom down to 12 volts into the downlink, and now it's on. The reason I put this switch on is sometimes when I'm just doing bench stuff, I don't want the downlink on. You can actually see I put some heat sinks on this. This little number gets really hot when it's just sitting around. So yeah, I put that option to turn it off when I want. And also another thing with the GH3, so I'm pulling HDMI out. That's going into my HDMI to SD converter, which is taking the SD down to the downlink. If you ever want to review your footage or your stills, you're going to see this TV output in progress. What that means is the HDMI cord is plugged in. So If you just unplug that, you'll be able to review your footage. Oops, I don't think I have any pictures on this. Oh, yes I do. So yeah, so if you get a black screen that says TV Connect, just unplug the HDMI and you can review your stills and your video. All right, so that pretty much sums it up for the 2-axis gimbal. Once again, I'll show a diagram right now to explain how I wired it all up. And yeah, the next video we'll actually get it up in the air and we'll show all the controls and how we're flying and the results. So we'll see you soon. This is Jeff at Quadrocopter.